the storms.
You feel like you're on an airplane because there's so much pressure in your ears, and we're all looking at each other like, do you feel that?
And our team of meteorologists break down exactly how it all unfolded.
Here's some of the stats on that tornado. It was a high-end EF1 tornado with
Wild temperature changes, what's behind the drastic highs to lows?
As some winter air moved back in and started crashing into the Midwest, this has led to significant changes across the board.
And it's February 29th. We'll help you better understand leap years.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Lindsay Mastis, and we are beginning today in the Midwest, where cleanup is underway after a line of severe weather just slammed through the Dayton and Columbus areas of Ohio early Wednesday. Now, it left behind a trail of destruction. The National Weather Service confirmed that at least 4 tornadoes touched down in this region, and these are scenes from just outside the Dayton area. There was severe damage. Luckily, no reports of anyone getting hurt. Now, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton was also severely damaged following the suspected tornado in that area. Multiple buildings were impacted and several aircraft sustained minor damage. We begin our team coverage with who is at the base.
Best takeaway is that no personnel were injured. We had no reported injuries.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, thankful no one was hurt in Wednesday's early morning tornado. Colonel Travis Pond saying they were fairly lucky. A storage and restoration hangar dating back to the end of World War II took the hardest hit.
Although the damage to the external structure of the building is pretty severe, the aircraft inside are relatively undamaged.
An interceptor plane, a F-104 Starfighter, was also heavily damaged, but David Tillotson with the museum says it was on its way out.
The aircraft on the tarmac behind me, or basically on the concrete behind me, are all things that were slated for disposal. So while they got bounced around a little bit and it looks pretty impressive, the answer is these were being scheduled for pickup by the Defense Logistics Agency for recycling.
Fortunately, nothing of too high value was lost, but they say it will still take weeks, if not longer, to repair all the damages.
The building behind you is probably going to take a while. So these are also historic hangars. In addition to being severely damaged, it's a historic hangar, so restoration will be more challenging.
And as they continue to clean up the mess left behind, they thanked those who worked tirelessly to make sure they could do so safely.
Really proud of our first responders, our CEE folks, security forces, and fire, who were out here immediately, well before anyone arrived, to get the site safe.
And of course, we want to dig deeper into how the severe weather played out in the Dayton area yesterday. Meteorologist Sarah Converse is giving us a closer look at what happened.
Strong to severe thunderstorms racing through the Midwest Wednesday morning, impacting especially the I-70 corridor in Ohio, where we did have some confirmed tornadoes on the ground, and it caused quite a bit of damage. Trees down, power lines down, even homes being damaged. Hilliard is dealing with the possible tornado damage with trees, wires down, also some damage to homes. Summit Station, just north of Reynoldsburg, just to the east of Columbus, also had some damage as well, and that continued all the way to the West Virginia state line for the eastern portion of the state, with more trees down from Chandlersville to Moundsville.
And in Michigan, there were 2 tornadoes that touched down early Wednesday morning as well. And residents in the Marengo Township area spent the day going through the rubble as the cleanup process began. Now, meteorologist Will Haney is breaking down exactly what happened. But first, we're going to hear from Autumn Pitcher, who spoke with the owners of 2 homes that were hit by one of the twisters.
I woke up to the house shaking.
Jeff Thomas living through a nightmare, a tornado crossing into Marengo Township, tearing off the roof of his home in the middle of the night.
Rain was pouring on me, coming through from where the roof was, and it just, real scary moment.
His garage a total loss, siding in the trees, other valuables tossed into the street. As crews clean up.
Out of that was stuff handed down from my grandpa, antiques and stuff like that. You can't replace that stuff.
Wendy Crow, her husband and 2 kids live down the road on 20 Mile.
you feel like you're on an airplane because there's so much pressure in your ears, and we're all looking at each other like, do you feel that?
The tornado ripping through the Crows' home while they took cover in the basement. Wendy in disbelief of the damage before her eyes.
We went out on the deck this morning and looked out in the daylight, and you're just like, oh my God.
This was hit. I don't know if it was hit by a tree or wood. I don't even know.
The storm did spare something close to the family, the sheep on their farm.
To think, how did they even make it? You know, you go out there and they're walking around. The 2 baby lambs are just, running up to you, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how does that even happen?
Very active night across West Michigan Tuesday into the wee early morning hours on Wednesday. This, of course, coming after our record warmth in February. Numerous wind damage reports, hail reports up to about 2.5 inches near Battle Creek. And taking a closer look near Battle Creek, there was even one tornado north of the town of Marshall. That's just east of Battle Creek. Here's some of the stats on that tornado. It was a high-end EF1 tornado with max winds of 110 miles an hour, path length just shy of 6 miles, and a max width of 3 football fields. Fortunately, no one killed and only one minor injury. It was a high-end EF1, I mentioned that. The EF scale rates EF1 tornadoes up to about 110 miles per hour. Those wind estimates based on the damage those tornadoes do. So it was very close to being an EF2. What's remarkable is when we look at the tornado history from 1950 to last year, we've only ever seen 5 up until Tuesday night into Wednesday in the state of Michigan in the month of February. And the tornado in Marshall, one of 2 that touched down in the state. The other one happening out towards Flint near Grand Blanc.
And of course, we have a lot more coverage of these storms on our social media accounts. You can follow us on Instagram, where we're going to post updates from our meteorologists in the area. Just search the National Weather Desk. A second winter storm is expected to impact the West Coast today. The National Weather Service is forecasting that the storm could bring heavy mountain snow, surpassing a rate of 3 inches per hour in some areas. Blizzard conditions will hit portions of the Sierra Nevada on Friday, affecting travel. The National Weather Service is reporting much colder air, with temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below normal as the storm moves south. And check out this really cool photo that a viewer recently sent us. And this is showing the really dramatic temperature changes in many parts of the country that are seeing, right now. So this is a photo taken in Green Bay, and you can see the 2 photos are taken just 24 hours apart. The temperature change was about 50 degrees. We're going to have more on those drastic temperature changes coming up just a little later on. And we have been talking a lot today about severe weather events. And while tornadoes and wildfires can be dangerous, we don't want to forget about some of the more underrated weather dangers. A big one is lightning. Meteorologist Kit Alexander is showing how you can protect yourself.
In the United States, lightning kills about 20 people a year. According to the National Weather Service, hundreds more are seriously injured every year. Many of you have heard the saying, when thunder roars, go indoors. Truth is, no place outside is safe during a thunderstorm. According to the National Weather Service, all thunderstorms produce lightning. Here are some safety tips to keep in mind when it comes to lightning. During a thunderstorm, avoid open areas. Stay away from tall trees, towers, and utility poles. Also stay away from metal conductors like wires or fences. And if someone is struck by lightning, dial 911. Also, lightning victims do not contain an electrical charge. Begin CPR if you are trained.
And check this out, because this is something called a fire fall. It's an amazing sight at Yosemite National Park, and it happens at a sparse waterfall during the winter when only a small amount of water is flowing over part of the El Capitan. The glowing effect that you see is created when a light during sunset hits the small amount of water at just the right angle. And Intuitive Machines released remarkable new images from its spacecraft taken just moments after it touched down on the moon last week. The Houston-based company developed the Odysseus lander. It is the first U.S.-made vehicle to make a soft touchdown on the moon in 5 decades. Coming up on the National Weather Desk, today is a special day, Leap Day. In fact, most calendars don't have the day, right? We're going to find out exactly why we have to add an extra day in February.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. The warm air mass that we had yesterday, that's long gone. A cold front has made its way off to the east. Highs today, they're going to struggle to get out of the 20s and 30s. A few spots may nudge 40 degrees, but the wind is going to make it feel colder. 8 a.m., we're out of the gates with temps in the 20s and 30s. Notice by afternoon, we're struggling to get out of the 20s and 30s. Wind chills will generally be running the teens in the Northeast. Now, those temperatures will moderate a bit on Friday. We'll keep the sun, and temps will get a boost into the 30s and 40s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. We've had a strong cold front pass through the area. We're not going to see any more rainfall out of this, but it is going to be quite breezy, gusting to around 25 miles per hour. So it's going to be blustery with all the temperatures that we are going to be seeing, but otherwise dry. And until we get later into Saturday, those chances will start to come back. Temperatures will be chilly today, highs only in the 40s as we head into Friday, starting to recover a little bit in the 50s or so. And then as we move into the weekend, still staying pretty mild.
Good Thursday morning. Meteorologist Michael Arenberg here with a look at the Southeast regional forecast. Cool front will continue to slip through central Florida. Lots of clouds behind it through the Carolinas and up through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. And we are looking at some energy producing some areas of rain for Texas and Oklahoma, up through Louisiana, Mississippi, and northern Alabama during the late afternoon, evening hours. Behind the front, chilly temperatures, highs in the 50s, 60s down to I-10 in Florida, with 70s and low 80s for central and south Florida.
Weather window. Weather window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
After record highs in the 70s in Michigan on Tuesday, a powerful cold front caused severe thunderstorms that dropped lots of large hail, as seen in these photos from viewers, including this photo taken during a lightning flash. Behind that front today, Michigan was getting accumulating lake-effect snow and bitterly cold wind chills. This is the same cold front that spawned the tornadoes in Ohio.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
We turn now to Texas, where massive wildfires near Amarillo have burned around 1 million acres since Monday. Now, sadly, one person has died as a result of these fires. Right now, weather conditions are improving, but the National Weather Service says that by Friday morning, gusty winds and dry air are expected to return to the region. Drew Powell has more.
Having additional resources are helping firefighters begin to get the upper hand on the Windy Deuce fire. A break in the weather with calmer winds allowed single-engine air tankers to drop water.
Bringing in aircraft will give us another tool in our toolbox to assist with slowing rapid fire spreads. Air attack platforms are great tools that give us an overhead view and can give us a better idea of a larger scale picture of what's going on.
A shift in the winds moved the fire back towards the direction where it came from, starting near the Canadian River in Potter County. This allowed crews on the ground to attack from more than one angle.
When a fire turns back on itself like that, we call it burning it back into the black. And that is a firefighting technique where we'll get out, try to get ahead of the fire and put some fire on the ground and get some black in the area ahead of the fire. And that removes the fuels that where the fire's headed.
Just how the Windy Deuce fire got started on Monday is a question everyone is asking. That's why multiple agencies are looking at what caused the fire as it remains under investigation.
And large portions of the country have seen drastic temperature changes over the last several days. Areas like Washington, D.C. saw temperatures drop 20 degrees in just a few hours. And in other places, the temperature changes are even more drastic. We're going to turn now to Iowa meteorologist Rebecca Kopelman to get a better understanding of what happened.
A powerful cold front moved through the Midwest, and out ahead of it, strong southerly winds brought in record warmth. And as it swept through the Midwest, it produced tornadoes, it produced grapple, it produced snow, and has significantly knocked back temperatures. Temperatures were well into the 60s, 70s, even some 80s in the Midwest on Tuesday. And this is warmth that we don't typically see this time of year. So, of course, as some winter air moved back in and started crashing into the Midwest, has led to significant changes across the board from Tuesday morning to Wednesday morning. But even just from Tuesday afternoon to Wednesday morning, some huge temperature swings on the order of 60 degrees. And in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the largest temperature swing in a 24-hour period that we've seen. In Cedar Rapids, I'm meteorologist Rebecca Kopelman.
So we are so used to seeing the calendar look like this, only 28 days in February, but it is a leap day today. So why do we do this crazy thing with the calendar every 4 years where we add a day, and why today? Lynchburg meteorologist Will Stafford is explaining that it's all astronomical.
February 29th, leap day, the rarest day of them all. After all, it only comes around once every 4 years. But why? Why do we only add this day to the end of February once every 4 years? What's the point? For that answer, we have to head to outer space. We're all familiar with what, astronomically speaking, is a year, one trip or revolution of Earth around the sun. Using our calendar, we measure that trip to take 365 days. But scientifically speaking, that's not accurate. It actually takes Earth 365.24 days to make one trip around the sun. That little extra quarter of time raises some big questions as to how we deal with it. You see, we just can't ignore it and round down all the years to having 365 days. If we did that, eventually all the weeks and months would become very messed up. At the same time, we also can't overcompensate for it, round up and make all the years 366 days. If we did that, we'd have the same problem. Eventually, your weeks and months will become very different. Thus, leap day is needed, but it's not needed all the time, only a quarter of the time. So out of every 4 years, 3 of them are normal, 365 days long. But one of them, a quarter of the time, we add another day, February 29th, leap day, the 366th day to the calendar to account for the extra quarter of time it takes for the Earth to make one trip around the sun. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Will Stafford.
And we continue our countdown to the solar eclipse across America. We are now just 39 days away, and in Texas, many small towns are getting ready for this big event. And in Kerrville, Texas, where the population is less than 30,000, they are expecting nearly 200,000 visitors for the big event. And as Amanda Henderson reports, the town has been preparing for more than 2 years.
On a busy street in Kerrville, you'll find Boutique M. Inside, owner Margaret Raymond is preparing for something important.
We're excited.
You might even call it once in a lifetime.
We've got a little bit of time, but not much.
Raymond's doors will be open April 8th as a total solar eclipse sits over Kerrville for more than 4 minutes. Her county is expecting 150 to 200,000 people to come and watch.
We've been planning for this for over 2 years.
No matter where you're watching the total solar eclipse, you're going to want a pair of glasses if you're going to be looking up at the sun. These are just for show, though. They're out in a park in Kerrville where they're expecting tens of thousands of people. And city and county managers already have a plan on how they're keeping everyone safe.
William Thomas is with the county's emergency management department. He says multiple agencies are involved in planning for the event.
We've been working with TxDOT, DPS, the Highway Patrol Division, on traffic control and how we're going to handle the influx of people.
Earlier, Kerrville Fire Chief Eric Maloney and Police Chief Chris McCall briefed City Council on their most up-to-date plan for traffic, emergency resources, medical care, cell impact, and more. All critical items ahead of the city's Eclipse Festival. Hours after announcing they're selling off-site parking for it at a local high school, they're already more than halfway sold out.
And anytime emergency management is working, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be flooding event, our goal is to reestablish our community lifelines.
Officials say if you're coming into town, arrive hours early as traffic will be higher than usual.
All month, we have been taking a look back at meteorologists that have broken racial barriers. And on this last day of Black History Month, we are honoring gold medal Olympian and Air Force meteorologist Archie Williams.
Archie Williams was born in 1915 and grew up in Oakland, California. He went to UC Berkeley to major in engineering and was quickly recruited onto the track team. He became a very successful athlete, qualifying for the 1936 Olympics and then going on to win the gold medal in Berlin for the 400-meter race. Upon graduating from college, Archie was unable to find a position as an engineer because of the color of his skin. So he took a job at an airport in exchange for flying lessons, and then went on to become a flight instructor for the famous Tuskegee Airmen. During the war, he was enrolled in UCLA's meteorology program and from there returned to Tuskegee as a lieutenant and weather officer. He continued his career as a meteorologist and pilot, flying missions around the world before retiring with the rank of lieutenant colonel in 1965. Archie Williams passed away in 1993 at the age of 78.
Incredible. And before a short break, we're going to take in some views of Utah's Great Salt Lake.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Quieter weather across the Midwest for the day today as we go into the afternoon. A lot of us warming into the 40s and 50s. A few light wintry mixed showers possible trying to sneak their way into the lower part of the Midwest as we head into your Friday morning, and some rain across the Ohio Valley. But all in all, again, pretty quiet for Friday. But by Saturday, we continue to keep warming up. The only place that's going to get a little colder is Bismarck, only a high of 38 there.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Much cooler from Oklahoma back up into North Texas today. Still pretty cool down into South Texas and Louisiana as well. We're going to see clouds, maybe a little rain. That could help out with those big fires up in North Texas. That rain will move into Oklahoma, Mississippi, and into Louisiana later in the day. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi, everybody, and a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. It's the final day of February, the 29th, no less. We've got leap day underway, and we are going to leap back into the upper 40s to about 60 degrees from northern Idaho to Boise today. So a little bit of a warm up in that direction. Cooling, on the other hand, around Seattle and Portland as a powerful cold front sweeps on through and gusty winds moving through Nevada today. And that's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
Bridge freezes or ices before roadway, right? That is a sign that most of us have seen countless times. But have you ever wondered what this means or how it happens? Meteorologist Christian Clark is posting the answer to that on TikTok.
Here you are on the road, right? And then right about here, you're probably going to find that sign and it's going to be like, oh yeah, bridge freezes or ices before roadway. Then you're on the bridge. So let's go ahead and take note of a couple things. So you've got some cold air that is moving below and above that bridge. So now you've got that entire bridge or that overpass surrounded by that cold air. So you've got that road that is so thick and it's going to take a lot longer for that surface to cool down and ice over compared to the bridge where it's surrounded by that cold air. It doesn't have that surface to really trap in that heat. So that's when we're going to see that surface of the bridge to ice over quickly before that road.
And be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you for joining us. I'm Lindsay Mastis. Make it a great Thursday. And of course, we'll see you right back here tomorrow in March.